Hi again. My name is Rebel and I'm the Rebel Reseller, and we're going to try to get caught up again on videos. This is my What Sold video for the weekend of April 17th through 19th. I think my best sale probably was on Poshmark, and then I had an okay sale on eBay. Thank goodness for cross-listing. That's all I'm going to continue to say. If you have not started cross-listing and it's just something you've been tempted to start. And we use Nifty, loving it. If you choose Nifty, then we've got a little link down in the bottom. If you would support our channel by using the link to sign up for it or any of the other links that we have down there, we get a small percentage of anytime you use our links.
The quick and easy way is to hit the thumbs up button and leave a comment.
Yep, and that one's free. All right, so let me go ahead and share with you the things that I sold on Mercari, Poshmark, Etsy, and eBay. But I did make my first sell on Depop, but that's going to be in another video. So, yay, I'm on the record as now being, how many platforms? 6 6? We should start Bonanza again.
5.
We should start Bonanza again.
You think?
Why not?
It's easy.
It's easy. You do it for both of our stores.
Why'd
He
you
has
quit
to do
last
the work.
time?
I don't remember because I kept getting those violations, but I don't really care.
The problem with doing Bonanza is it would take it down on eBay. But
Yes.
then Nifty would not do...
You'd have to watch.
We would have to watch it and make sure that anytime something's sold, we would have to be aware and very proactive if something sold on Bonanza, because we would have to take it down on the other platforms that aren't eBay.
But even when I was on there with like 12,000 listings, I might make a couple of months. So it wouldn't be a major challenge. But, you know, maybe something to think about. Somebody else, I don't even know who I was watching, is doing Bonanza now and have started making sales. That's the only reason why it came to my mind. But, all right, so on Mercari, I have 3 sales. First one was this Gund raccoon plush from 1981, sold for $10.95. And then these Winnie the Pooh static cling window decorations. It was a set of 2, sold for $15. And then this Target Bullseye dog from South Africa, sold for $7.47. Not from South Africa. It's wearing a clothing item that says South Africa. All right, and then Poshmark. Poshmark is hot for me right now. I'm pretty sure it is my second highest earning platform right now. You know, eBay's always probably, hopefully, not after this week maybe, my highest earning platform. But Poshmark is definitely stepped up for me. And some of these are really nice sales.
Before you go any farther, Ellen bought something. It's going to be in a future What Sold video. And she lives near us down the road, and said she keeps looking to run into us at a yard sale. And that may or may not ever happen, but Friday night at 6 p.m. at Southern Craft here in Greenville, we're meeting a few other local resellers and having a little meetup. So if you want to actually have a guaranteed chance to run into us, that would be the time and place. Friday, this is the 29th, so the 1st, May 1st, at 6 p.m. at Southern Craft. Just shoot us a message to let us know. That way we make sure that we get a table big enough for you if you're going to be there.
Yep. That would be fun. All right, and then Poshmark Rainforest Cafe Siberian Tiger, sold for $25. Love sales like that. Another really nice sale was this Kohl's T-Bone, Mac, and Clifford the Big Red Dog plush lot. I got so many questions on both on Poshmark and on eBay, wanting me just to sell the blue dog. And, you know, I knew he was the reason I was able to list this lot as high as I did, because he's harder to find, and it sold on Poshmark for $33. This Betty Spaghetti McDonald's set of little dolls sold for $14. Northwest Missouri State Bobcat plush sold for $8. Tommy Ertl Chunky Farmer and the Farm Animal Lot sold for $10. I used to sell these so well for like, you know, $10, $15, $20, depending on how many pieces I had. Mattel Barbie Baby Doll Lot of 2. These were vintage and they sold for $12. U.S. Stamp Pin. You know, I picked up a baggie of these at an estate sale or a yard sale.
Yard sale.
Yard sale?
I think it was a bonus yard sale.
Yeah. And, you know, I listed them. I sold a few. And then these have been listed for several years. And all of a sudden, I think I've sold 2. I think one here and one on eBay. This one sold for $10.
I think we paid $5 for the whole bag.
Yeah.
And there were quite a few in there. So
yeah,
it was a really good buy.
At least a dozen of them. And I think there were some other pins like Disney. So that's why I had picked it up. All right. And then Taggy's Lion Lovey sold for $10. And I think this next one is my best seller. And it was pretty quick. It was this Sigikid Ak Good Plush Bear from Germany. Sold on Poshmark for $60. One sell on Etsy. Nothing to write home about, but a sale is a sale, right? It was this woolly lamb sheep plush sold for $8.95. You know, funny thing with this one is, this is Sophia the First Clover Rabbit plush. There was a time I couldn't give these away. I mean, literally, I probably donated them at some point because they were such low dollar. And then yet this one sold immediately for an offer of $14, probably because it had its paper tag. But again, I do not list this as new because to me it's not new. I got it at the bins. And, but I did just put, you know, I always have something, either light playwear, some playwear. If there is something notable, I put that in my condition notes. But this was a very quick sell, $14. So, you know, maybe it's a comeback. One of those, it wasn't on very long, and maybe it's making a comeback of some type.
I had somebody ask me on a pair of, it was a shirt or something, whatever it was. And they said, I don't see any, you said there's some wear on this item, and I don't see it. And I responded, that's just my sort of standard disclaimer that this item is not new, and it may have some wear on it when you see it.
This is one of those things been listed forever. At some point, maybe it should have sold for my listing price. But I went back and checked. There were others that were listed for less. And mine had some condition issues. So it is Idea Nuova Purple Dog Microbead Plush. Kind of like the Moshi's, but not a Moshi brand. And somebody sent me a $25 offer. And as just the way that my sales have been, I took it.
This conversation came up with Squatchy Sales the other day. He asked on Facebook about taking offers. And I commented back that we have offers turned on and we don't set the minimum. Some people are, so you could say, you know, reject anything like on this one. You could have said reject anything less than $35.
Yep.
And then it would have been rejected. The problem with doing that is prices over time go up and down. And if you have something that sits for even 6 months or maybe 3 years or something, and the market has fallen out, you'll never get this $25 offer. But if you had gotten the $25 offer, went and looked, you would see that, oh, they're all selling for $20 now. And mine's, they gave me a $25 offer, because that happens.
Yes.
We'll get an offer like 25 on this. Rebel will, let me go look at the current prices. And the current prices are all at $20, but for some reason they offered us 25. So we take it. And if we had that reject anything below 35 turned on, or whatever the dollar you said, we would have never seen it, and it would still be sitting here until our kids sell it at the estate auction or estate sale after we're long dead and gone.
Yeah. All right. Disney Snow White Bashful Plush sold for $18. This was a lot, 17-inch plush. Really, really nice quality. All right. And then Bear Lady's back. She bought 6 plush from me, total of $43.50. She purchased a Walmart frog plush for $7.50. All of this has been discounted down to $9.95. So when she's offering me these $7.50 offers, I'm just taking them because this is all old inventory and I just want to make it gone. Bought a First in Maine brown bear, a bear with some denim overalls on. I think the brand said Creative Kids International. A GAC, I think that's Great American, but I could be wrong. I can't remember. GAC Pig and an Eeyore. So all of that was a total of, yeah, let me scooch back up without showing her name. All of that was for a total of $43.50. Kohl's Big One Kids Dinosaur Plush sold for $13.45. Another Kohl's plush. This was If You Give a Dog a Donut, sold for $11. This is one of those items. I list them, and then like if I found another one that went in that series, like the mouse, the moose. There's one, I think it's the cat. The cat actually is worth a lot more. But I would put it with these just to, bump my price way up. Somebody might be enticed to buy a lot of them instead of a single. But this one sold for $11, so I'm starting all over with that series again. Sango Nova salad plate lot of 2. I don't think I'm quite done with selling all of that. We're not really into the dishes anymore. But the ones that I've had, I've been making lots. And they're selling $13.45. This one was funny. I found the giraffe first, and it's been sitting in my bin. I actually almost put it in my discard pile, and then I found these other two. Totally different times, I'm pretty sure, or maybe just different bags from the bins, maybe. But I finally made the lot in March, and it sold for $12.10. Just these little plastic animals that look like circus. To me, they kind of reminded me of Toys R Us, but the brand was Ankyo. FAO Schwartz Black Gorilla Plush, $13.45. Anytime you see these Fisher-Price vintage erasers, this one had no foam. It sold for $15. Let me turn this red marker off. Look, no foam, and it still sold for $15. If it had the foam, probably $20, $25, maybe even more, depending on the condition of the eraser part. But somebody's more than likely just either going to put something in it to, replace the foam, or it's just for looks, because it goes with the desks, the vintage Fisher-Price desks, but it also went with the Sesame Street Little People set. So I didn't even put Little People in there. I don't think the AI figured that out. But yeah, it's definitely one to be looking for in any condition. Despicable Me. I laid out a couple of, probably 2 months ago, I started that project. But I started laying out all of those small figures that I've been accumulating at the bins and just making lots. If I found more to go with it, fine. I'll take the listing down, or I'll just change the photos, up the price. But this was just that cockroach. No, what is it? Maybe a grasshopper. I don't know what he is. And a little mini minion, and it sold pretty quickly for $11. But I'm kind of bored with the smalls again, so I'm back to focusing on plush. I get in my cycles like that. All right, this is Lovabella replacement bottle. Again, I listed this last year, and when I got this $16 offer, I again took the opportunity, go look what other people are listing them for, and it was reasonable. I went ahead and accepted it because $16 for one little plastic doll bottle is good, because I picked it up at the bins, so I might have a quarter in it. So nice sell. Doll pacifiers. Again, these are things I always pick up. The doll bottles, the doll cups, anything like that, and then I just make lots. And this I listed in February, so not too long, and it sold for $13.45. Now, I'm pretty sure maybe I picked this up when I was doing a whole lot of going to the Asheville bins right after we both quit our jobs and decided to do this full time and homeschool our kids. So it might have been listed 10 or 12 plus years. So it's just one of those, you know, eventually I might have decided to discard it, but I wasn't ready to yet because it's Mattel and from 1975, and it finally sold $8.96.
My question is, why would you discard it? Are we out of space?
No, not yet.
We're not. And I'm not picking on you. I'm just, in general, the question, why would you discard something that you already have listed if you have the space for it? Now, if the space is full and it's like, well, we either need to get rid of stuff or build a shed or, you know, build an addition onto the shop here, then it'd probably be a good idea to go get rid of this really old stuff as opposed to making a new addition that's going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. But if it's listed, why not keep it listed?
Yeah, exactly. All right. This was my best sell on eBay for that weekend. And it was, again, a very quick sell. It is IKEA. Love finding that plush. This one was a little bit more rare to find. It is an English Bulldog plush. And it sold for $35.95 very quickly. Robert had 2 sales that weekend. And first one was this Shadowline blue nightgown. I picked a bunch of these up at our favorite little estate sale. We met up with Courtney that day. And she bought some gowns. I bought some gowns. It was just a whole lot of vintage stuff there. But if I find these in the bins, usually I'm going to pick them up. You know, they're not fast sellers, but they do sell. And like I said, this one sold for $20.
They're usually very light.
Very light, very, easy to take pictures of. And, you know, easy to store, definitely. And then he sold these Old Navy Diva boot cut jeans, sold for $10. All right, we got to get this video done. I'm going to try to do another haul video, and then we're behind on our what sold videos. So we've still got the 2 from last week and last weekend to get done. And then we'll hopefully be caught up. Hopefully.
Close to it anyway.
Yeah, we've both been sick, so it's just kind of been hard to get out here and get this stuff done. But, you know, allergy season has hit Robert really hard. And
helped RJ study. I was going to get a video out a couple nights ago, but RJ needed help with an economics thing that, you know, to review for an economics test because
it's finals.
You know, he's got finals, and I know a little bit about that stuff, so I helped him study for that instead of finishing a video, and it pushed you a little bit behind.
All right, y'all, time to get to work. Bye.
I gotta say, I don't think anybody has ever laid on their deathbed and said, you know, I really wish I'd have worked that night instead of helping my son with that project.
I know.
I really don't think that's ever happened.